Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoy. I was a part of a major cult, but I finally escaped. Up in the north near the woods, there's a large area of buildings and camps. The children of redemption live there, those who have pledged their lives to the man known as the Prophet. The Prophet is known as the only one to speak for their God. It's not exactly clear which God they are referring to. They use the large area of buildings and camp areas to create a sectioned-off paradise. Most technology is off-limits to other residents. The radio broadcasts the music written and performed by the choir, and the TV airs propaganda, making the Prophet seem like the living embodiment of their God. Every adult aged 18 and beyond is split into different fields of work, and everyone does their equal share of work. They have a few churches around the state and are exempt from taxes since it's a religion. These so-called churches are actually recruitment centers in disguise. People are bribed, forced, and manipulated into joining the Children of Redemption. They're all promised new lives, crimes of the past forgotten, open-armed love for people no matter the background, truly a fresh restart. This is what they'd have you believe, though. The people here are so numbed out of the modern world when they get here that it's hard to believe. The brainwashing goes deep in the mind and stays there. Law enforcement is impossible to ask for assistance because the cult has the cops and local government on their payroll. They put a few dollars in their pockets and the police and officials turn the other way. It's gotten worse over the past year, though. With social media, more and more people are being exposed to this. And it's even been capitalized by celebrities and media influencers. The Prophet is making his way slowly into every corner of society. Half of the US will be consumed in just a few more weeks at this rate. There has to be a way to stop it. Somebody needs to start a revolution. I'm posting this online to warn anyone who is considering joining. They will get to you and lure you into a false sense of peaceful living. The men are gods, the women are baby machines. And the children are being programmed to worship the Prophet early on. I know all of this because I was one of them. My friends got into this program and dragged me along, making such a big deal of how this was a life changer. I was always bored in life and had taken things for granted. Having the freedom to just sit around and play video games is considered a luxury now. It has taken me 6 months, but I finally broke out. I faked my death to them, and now I'm on the run to the other East Coast. Maybe New York. Please don't fall for their lies. They will eat you alive and bring you into that hive mind. You'll be a slave. I can see when people die. I can also be the cause that the timer speeds up. From birth, I've been able to see how long people have until they die. I can't tell how they die, only the amount of time they have left, down to the very last second. It's a simple timer, one that looks like it's on an analog clock. Every day I see dozens of timers counting down. Most of the time the years range from 20 to 60. Every so often I see the years in the single digits. It's the worst when the weeks or days are in the single digits. I can't tell if this is a curse or a blessing. It hasn't helped me in any form. I count it as a curse, though, because those I get really close to have their timers decrease highly. It can go from decades to minutes really fast. The causes of death show up during that moment as well. This isn't with family, though, just friends or lovers. Those who grow close with a strong bond. Outside of school, I mainly stay inside my house. I barely have a social life and don't get close to people after a few past relationships, whether it's platonic or romantic, have ended. These people die from natural causes or car accidents. To really add on the guilt, disability, I guess you could call it, warps the minds of their families and friends to make them think it was just meant to be. They don't question it, the police don't, nobody. I'm never brought into the picture outside of being emotionally supported for my loss at funerals. I have lost 2 girlfriends and 5 best friends over the course of 3 years. I'm not even going to start with the amount of classmates and a few teachers who passed on. Some of those deaths were tragic. I caused a school shooting with disability because I liked my classes and the people in one of my schools this year. Got too attached to the positive environment and had it ripped from me. I'm not sure how I could go about living like this. It's not really like I fully have a valid reason to die. It's not my fault, but at the same time it is. I really hope that one of these days this ability will just vanish so I don't have to deal with these deaths. I won't be able to ever have a wife, kids, actual friends, anything. I hate being alone, and I hate this. Where are my legs? My city has a long and simple underground subway system. It goes from one side of the city to the other with a few dozen stops. There are 2 trains, both with slightly different stops. Everything is pretty normal most of the day. Trains come and go mostly on time. The seats are sometimes full, but there are handfuls you can grab to make standing up more stable. Unlike most American public transport systems, it's actually pretty quiet most of the time. The trains end at 9 p.m. They close the stations down until 6 a.m. the next day. It isn't without its faults, though. There have been a few crimes and deaths. If you are still on the train after 9 p.m., you are most likely screwed. What will happen is that every light will shut off except the small bulbs on the wall. They will illuminate the area dimly, just enough so you don't fall. The doors to the train will open for a moment and then close. You will hear moaning as a heavy object is dragged across the ground. You won't be able to tell what it is at first. After a few minutes, you will find a woman dragging herself on the ground, coming at you slowly. A little while longer, and you will see that she doesn't have legs. The train car will start to reek of organs as the bottom half of her is exposed entrails, leaving behind a long trail of blood. There are barely any reports on what she looks like, but she is assumed to be in her early 30s, perhaps white or tanned, and has either black or brown hair. The left side of her face will look as if it were shredded, showing raw muscle. She will most likely moan in pain as she crawls toward you. She'll attempt to grab at your legs until she latches on. If your legs fail to her grip, you aren't getting her loose. Her grip strength is high, and she'll pull you off balance. There is only one phrase she will ever say: "Give me my legs." Those that don't survive are reported to have been torn apart. It's assumed that she crawls on you until she reaches your waist. From there, she will shove her hand into your waist and start tearing flesh. She'll rip your stomach area open and start digging further and further, separating your top half from the bottom half of your body. You'll be found ripped in half, the top half of your body lying on the ground in the waiting area. Your waist and legs will be gone, and a trail of blood from them will lead into the darkness of the train tunnels. She was once a normal woman who tripped and fell on the train tracks. She tried climbing back up as the express train ran through. Nobody went to help her, as her body was torn in half from the train. The end. Thanks for taking the time to listen to one of my videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.